Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. In fact, there are sensational scenes that are being witnessed in the Rajya Sabha, even as the Delhi Services Bill, or the GNCTT Bill amendment as it's called technically, is being passed by the Rajya Sabha. The voting process is currently underway. We have seen how Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, replied to the various questions after a 6.5-hour long debate that transpired in the upper house. And in fact, there was a heated exchange in the Rajya Sabha as this bill was debated. The voting is beginning, and speaking on the bill, the Home Minister has reasoned that Delhi, being the national capital, is different from other states. He's also pointed out that no other chief minister in Delhi has ever fought with the central government over control of services. Amit Shah has also put forward the centre's position on the Supreme Court ruling, saying the top court in its verdict has clearly stated that Parliament has the powers to make laws on any subject related to Delhi. Let's listen into some of the excerpts of the Home Minister's speech.
मान्यवर, दिल्ली कई मायनों में सभी राज्यों से अलग प्रदेश है, क्योंकि यहाँ संसद भवन भी है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट है, एम्बेसीज यहाँ है। इसीलिए दिल्ली को यूनियन टेरिटरी बनाया गया है। दिल्ली असेंबली के साथ मगर सीमित अधिकारों के साथ
All right, so we'll continue with those visuals. We'll stay with those pictures coming in from the upper house. Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Harivansh, is in the chair and he is officiating the proceedings. We had seen the Vice President, in fact, officiate through the course of the discussion, the entire proceedings. But meanwhile, a massive controversy is broken out with Amit Shah saying inside Rajya Sabha that two members at least, BJD MP Sasmit Patra and BJP MP Sudhanshu Trivedi, did not sign a motion moved by AAP MP Raghav Chadha to be part of a select committee. With questions raised over signatures on the motion, Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman has declared that the matter will be inquired into. And in fact, let's open this up and take this across to our guests who are joining us at this point of time. With us is Shahzad Poonawalla, National Spokesperson of the BJP. With us also is Tushar Gupta, Senior Editor of Swarajya Magazine. Rakesh Sinha is an advocate who's joining us on the broadcast. Sanjay Hegde is with us. He's a senior advocate as well. Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst, also joining us on the broadcast, as does Khaliqur Rahman, national spokesperson of the BRS. But let me start first and foremost, Rakesh Kumar Sinha, with you, because very, very serious charges being made by the Home Minister. At least 5 members now. He, of course, had earlier mentioned 2, but now we are told the numbers higher. It's as many as 5 members who have disassociated with Raghav Chadha's motion, and they are claiming that without their consent, their signatures, the document that they have not signed, their names have been included. How could this have happened, Mr. Sinha?
Well, I'm not aware of what actually transpired there because I was not there in the parliament. But what all I can say that this matter needs to be inquired into. If at all there is a signature which is supposed to be forged and as alleged to be forged, this will be inquired into. So, but we are discussing an issue which is much bigger than that, much bigger than the 5 signatures.
All right. Just a second, the voting is underway. The voting is underway. Let's cut across live.
Lobby to be opened. Now we move to the other bill, the Registration of Births and Deaths Amendment Bill 2023. The Registration of Births and Deaths Amendment Bill 2023 Shri Nityanand Rai to move a
What we just saw, the lobbies being opened after the division that took place of those votes inside the Rajya Sabha. The exact numbers, of course, will be clear to us, but certainly, of course, the government, which had the support of the BJD as well as the YSRCP, very clearly had the edge as far as the numbers are concerned on this particular bill in the upper house, and that's very clearly what has transpired. Let's quickly take this back to our guest now. A very, very heated debate that we saw a short while earlier. And Rakesh Kumar Sinha, we had seen the Home Minister, in fact, lash out. He had said that it's not just as far as the bill itself is concerned, because he says there are constitutional provisions. Even the Supreme Court had left the door open for any future legislation, for instance. So it is the opposition's complaints, the Home Minister has alleged, are without basis. Mr. Sinha.
See, if you remember, the Supreme Court had said something else also. There have been two constitutional courts judgment on the issue of 239 AA, which gives the special provision to Delhi. In both the judgments, it has been said that even though Delhi is not a full-fledged state, it does qualify to be called a state. And there is a rule of, there is a system of cooperative federalism, there is a collective responsibility, participative democracy. These are the words used by Supreme Court in two constitutional bench judgments in 2018 and 2023.
Okay. Numbers coming in now. Just a moment, sir. Sorry, I'm interrupting you again, but the numbers are out. It's 131 versus 102. So the total numbers that were being expected for the Treasury benches was closer to about 121, 123, but now it is 131. The larger question is whether there has been cross-voting in the Rajya Sabha. And let me bring in Shehzad Poonawala. Shehzad, what is this 131 going to be attributed to?
It is attributed that the opposition neither had the niti, that is the law, nor the niyat, nor the numbers. The fact of the matter is that in Parliament, the NDA is 111, 112. The fact that we have got 131 means that it is not just the NDA, but also people who are not NDA constituents who are voting on this, because, Madhav, this is very clearly in line with the Supreme Court judgment, para 85 to para 95, para 164. Also, 239 AA 3B makes it very clear that Parliament can make laws on the state list of Delhi for any subject other than 1, 2 and 18 as well. And I think the gentleman who spoke before me is absolutely wrong. Delhi is not a state. It is not a union territory. It is not a union territory with assembly. It's a union territory with national capital region. And to the opening question, Madhav, I think there's a fraud that has been committed in Parliament. Imagine that you do Sharab Ghotala, you do Sheesh Mahal Ghotala, and now you do Ghotala inside Parliament. Mr. Gentleman, please, sir, I request you, 10 seconds. It is a very big fraud that has been committed, that you misrepresent on the floor of the House members of Parliament. There are 5 MPs who have gone on record to say that our signatures have been forged. So you can imagine what kind of forgery they wanted to do with the vigilance files. This is what Amit Shah was saying, and he's been vindicated.
Why would they do this kind of forgery if it is certainly something that is going to be eventually found out? What could be the possible reason for this?
You see, the Aam Aadmi Party has a tactic. They misrepresent facts like they misrepresented the Supreme Court judgment of 11th of May, and then they try to play the victimhood card. This would have gone on to say that, look, Sudhanshu Trivedi, look, Sasmit Patra, they are actually supporting what we are saying, and therefore they signed on the motion. They are very likely that Arvind Kejriwal, who's supposed to come out and speak on this, would have then used that as a victim card, but today he has been exposed completely. Let
Mr. Rakesh Kumar Sinha respond to that. Mr. Sinha, you heard what has been stated, and whatever we are discussing has actually been broadcast, so I'm quite surprised that you haven't been following it, because this is something that has been live across channels for the last 2 hours at least. So very clearly he is saying there was an attempt at misrepresenting post facto what happened inside the House.
I have already replied.
That's what
I have already said, if there is any misrepresentation, see, yeah, exactly. This is what I'm also saying. If there is any misrepresentation, if there is any case of somebody's signature has been forged, so as it has already been announced that this will be looked into, this will be examined, and the truth will come out. So today I cannot, sitting from here, can give the verdict whether the signatures were right or wrong. It is a matter of further inquiry that I have already spoken. What I was saying, that there are other Supreme Court observations which are equally valuable in this case.
A small intervention. Mr. Raghav Chadha took the name of Sudhanshu Trivedi and Sasmit Patra. The members got up in the House and said that we have not signed this. What more inquiry do you want? They have been misrepresented by the Honorable
And
MP,
also,
Mr. Chadha.
also, let me add, there's also somebody by the name of Fagnon Konyak, who is a member of parliament from Nagaland. There is another member called Mr. Thambi Durai, in fact, the leader of the AADMK. If senior members are getting up and saying that our names are not part of this particular motion, I have covered parliament for about 15 years now. I haven't quite seen anything like this. It's quite unusual. And let me take this across to other panelists as well. Sanjay Hegde and Khalikur Rahman also joining us. Mr. Khalikur Rahman, have you heard of any such development in the recent past where members get up and say that no, our names or our consent has not been taken? Khalikur Rahman?
Yeah, good evening. In fact, this is something which is unheard of, especially in the parliamentary democracy. And the member getting up right there in the House and denying totally. So this is a very serious matter which needs to be probed in. And in fact, not only, the government or the parties, but the nation wants to know about it actually. So this is a very serious allegation, if it is an allegation. But, Mr. Raghav Chadha has to come out clean on this. And Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi and Mr. Patra, they got up and they said very clearly that they are not a part of it and they have not signed. So this is something which, needs to be taken very seriously, and this is a matter which needs to be probed in.
Well, the Home Minister did say that the matter should be referred to the Privilege Committee. The chair at that point of time was a deputy chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, Harivansh, who said that the matter would be probed by the Secretariat of the Rajya Sabha. Let's quickly listen into that sequence when the Home Minister spoke.
मान्यवर दोनों सम्मानीय सदस्य कह रहे हैं कि इन्होंने ये मोशन को साइन नहीं किया। अब ये जांच का विषय है कि ये मोशन कैसे साइन हुआ और राघव चड्ढा जी ने इसको मूव किया। मान्यवर इनका सिग्नेचर किसने किया है, ये जांच का विषय है। मान्यवर ऐसे नहीं चलता। मान्यवर अब ये मामला सिर्फ दिल्ली सरकार में फर्जी करने का नहीं है, ये सदन के अंदर मेरा आपसे निवेदन है कि दोनों सदस्यों का स्टेटमेंट रिकॉर्ड पर लिया जाए अभी और बाद में इसकी जांच की जाए कि ये कैसे हुआ।
Tehseen Poonawalla is with us now. Tehseen Poonawalla, alliance partner of I.N.D.I.A, alliance Aam Aadmi Party, and their member of parliament, very serious charges about misrepresenting the signatures of other fellow MPs. Something that's pretty much unheard of, as the BRS spokesperson was just telling us.
Look, I know Raghav personally, so why will and I know that Raghav's not going to forge signatures. Why is he going to forge signatures? And Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi's signature,
Sir,
Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi,
why would members of parliament stand up in the House and say that our signatures have been forged? I mean, that's a rhetorical question, sir.
Can I please answer that? Of course I get the point. But, I mean, you have to be really naive or you have to be really silly, pardon my French, to think that somebody will forge a BJP MP signature in the House. Who's going to do it? Of course, there must have been something more to it than that meets the eye. There will be an investigation. But to say that Raghav Chadha would have forged Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi's signature, I mean, come on. I mean, this is going to be national news. Obviously, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi will stand up and say, look, I didn't sign it. So let the investigation happen, as everyone is saying. But how does the parameter shift? But can I just make one point? How does the parameter shift when it even comes to forgery, that you're guilty until proven innocent? But when it comes to anybody in the BJP, including Brij Bhushan Chand Singh and on POSCO and rape charges, you're innocent until proven guilty. How does this change? I fail to understand it.
What is he even talking about?
Sir, we are, let me just clarify. Let me just clarify.
The name of the MPs have been called out.
Can you not calm down and talk when I'm on a distance?
Tehseen, just 1 second. Tehseen, please calm down. 1 second. Tushar, I'm coming to you. Just give me a minute. Let me make one thing very clear. One is a matter of criminal investigation. A charge sheet has in fact been filed in a court of law. The court has taken cognizance of that charge sheet. We have reported that particular charge sheet here extensively as well. Yes, for a political parties there may be questions. In this case, it is parliamentary procedure which is protected by privilege. And it's that privilege which has in fact been invoked here by the Home Minister. So Tehseen, there are two very, very different cases. Certainly you can hold the BJP up to a higher yardstick. That is entirely your call. And as an argument you can use that. But there are certain certain practices in Parliament which are there, which normally these kind of events don't happen, and happening as it does during the course of an important bills discussion certainly is a very, very sensational charge. Now, having said that, Tehseen, the question that still remains is that many are questioning whether this was just some kind of attempt at garnering attention. Home Minister himself told Mr. Kharge, and you would recall that this is something that Arvind Kejriwal is going to do a U-turn. He's going to back out of this alliance right after this particular legislation. So once again, it appears that there is some kind of, either whether it is an attempt to grab attention or highlight the issue, whatever may be the reason, I don't know. And certainly it's perhaps only an investigation that can tell. But there are very serious questions and ramifications coming out of this. Tehseen.
Okay, let me again explain so that, and I hope people don't jump because I'm at a distance and there's a Zoom audio. I am saying that I don't think Raghav Chadha is that stupid to forge somebody's signature, especially for BJP MPs in Parliament, so he gets exposed. Having said that, whether Parliament or legal procedure outside Parliament, the jurisprudence is you're innocent until proven guilty. Now, yes, there's an allegation on Raghav Chadha. How come this jurisprudence of you're innocent until proven guilty applies for the BJP in any form, inside or outside Parliament, but does not apply for anyone opposite? For everyone opposite, you're guilty until proven innocent, even if so the Home Minister says that. That is the limited point I'm making.
Okay.
Do you really think Raghav Chadha will forge signatures of a BJP MP inside Parliament?
Fair enough.
That's
That's your point of view. Fair enough. Let's get a response now from Tushar Gupta. Yeah, Tushar, you wanted to respond to Tehseen.
Look, the MPs' names were called out. The MPs themselves stood up, not the Home Minister, saying that they did not sign the motion. And interestingly, since Tehseen is going on a defense, I'm just about to upload a video on my Twitter timeline where Jairam Ramesh is appearing to, is looking like scolding Raghav Chadha. We can't hear the audio, obviously, but he seems very miffed at Raghav Chadha. So, of course, it is all innocent until proven guilty. The investigation will yield the results. But clearly, even Jairam Ramesh wasn't very impressed with Raghav Chadha, forget the Home Minister as well. Okay. And this is the MPs themselves, Madhav. Again, not the Home Minister speaking on someone's behalf. The MPs saying that our signatures have been forged. We were never a part of this motion.
All right. Let me now come back to the major issue at hand, which is the Delhi Services Bill itself. The heated debate, apart from, of course, the opposition alliance and the unity ahead of 2024. In fact, while the course of the debate was on, we have seen many political jibes that were taken on the future of the I.N.D.A. alliance. But before I get into that, there are several legal points that have also been brought in, and I want to bring in Sanjay Hegde on that particular point. Sanjay Hegde, number of legal points that were made through the course of this entire discussion. We have seen how they have cited the Supreme Court judgment saying that there is room given for a new legislation. We have seen how they said that, to the allegation that secretaries are being made more powerful than elected representatives. Amit Shah saying that government cabinet notes are signed by secretaries and not by ministers. So they do have a role as far as the administration is concerned. How are you looking at the responses of the government to the queries that were raised by opposition? Sanjay Hegde.
Well, any government response is unlikely to meet the opposition's satisfaction. And these are their two respective roles. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, I was listening to the Home Minister, and yes, the Supreme Court, Parliament, etc., is all there in Delhi. But it is largely there in the NDMC area. There's a whole host of Delhi which has a population bigger than most states in India. Now, I don't see why a place like Nangloi, which is in Delhi but not in New Delhi, should not have a representative form of government. It was the BJP itself which brought in something like statehood for Delhi. Now,
Sanjay, I'm sorry I'm interrupting. Sarkar hatyane ki koshish. She has also referred to the fact that the BJP has several times asked for Delhi being made a full state, referring to Prime Minister's speeches as well, and saying that this is nothing short of stabbing Delhiites in the back. Who will believe the BJP now? It's a beta versus Neta debate that has in fact come to the fore. Many hands going up. But first question, I'm coming to you, Tushar. I want Shehzad to respond to that. Very serious charges that Arvind Kejriwal is referring to. He's saying the BJP has virtually stabbed Delhiites in the back.
Delhi has rejected Abhineta. It's not beta and neta. It is those who come and do drama, and they know very well what their situation is. Which beta of Delhi gives 500 to 1,000 sharab ka thekas? Which the beta of Delhi, instead of giving the money for RRTS project, gives the project money to the advertisement for 1,300 crores? Which beta of Delhi, instead of making schools, is only making the his own hoardings everywhere? So it's not a question of beta. It is a question of abhineta. And today the abhineta has to answer three questions. First of all, if by your logic that you have won Delhi elections thrice, Gujarat we have won 7-8 times now. In 28 years we have a government there. So what does that mean? The people of Gujarat have formally rejected you. We have got the highest mandate in Gujarat. Forget that. What was the situation of Delhi? The Delhi situation has always been from 1991 that it is not a full state. It is a union territory with a national capital region with an assembly, and therefore the powers of Delhi are very well defined in 239 AA3B. Is the Supreme Court against Delhi? Is the Constitution against Delhi? And lastly, Mr. Nehru himself has said that it should not be a full state. Today, those who are sitting with the Vanshaj of Nehru should answer that was Nehruji wrong.
Okay. Rakesh Kumar Sinha, number of points being made here by Shehzad, but he says he's not a beta but an abhineta. That is Shehzad's rebuttal. Quickly respond to that, please, Mr. Sinha.
See, this is not a question of any abhineta, because if there is a constitutional matter in which the power of Delhi as a union territory with assembly and which Supreme Court in different judgments had equated with the state has been taken away forcefully and without proper constitutional process, because this is basically a kind of constitutional amendment.
With the state. Let's talk
yes,
about
in
facts.
two judgments. The two judgments.
Please quote the para and please quote the provisions.
I'm reading from the line. The Supreme Court in 2018 verdict says, let me speak. Even though Delhi is not accorded full estate, the concept of federalism would still apply. In 2023, what the judgment of the Supreme Court Constitutional Bench says, it says that.
Sir, are you a practicing lawyer?
You didn't hear me properly. I'm saying Delhi is not accorded full estate. This was 2018. But the concept of federalism is still applied.
Let him read out the whole passage.
You cannot amend the constitutional scheme of Delhi without going through the constitutional amendment.
Read out the operational
I'm just
part
saying
of the judgment,
in 2018 verdict of Supreme Court says even though Delhi is not accorded full estate.
Is not accorded full state. So
I can show you the judgment, which is long judgment. I am only quoting a part of it, which is the concept of federalism would still apply. This is what I'm saying. And federalism means that you cannot make such kind of constitutional amendment without going through the constitutional amendment procedure, in which you also need to get the ratification by the states.
Okay, that's a charge that Mr. Singhvi also made, but I don't know how that is specifically.
This is what
how
I'm
you're
saying.
Arriving at that conclusion from what you have just read. The connection is not very clear. It's not very apparent. Let me in fact take that question across to Sanjay Hegde. Tushar, I'm coming to you. In fact, Sanjay Hegde, the point being made by Mr. Sinha, is it actually upheld by any judgment in your view? You're a senior advocate in the Supreme Court as well. And the judgment that he just read out, at least from my limited understanding of the law, does not specify any of that. Sanjay Hegde.
I'm quoting.
Mr. Sinha, may I proceed? The point that is being made is that Delhi, while not being a full state, is not just a union territory. It is somewhere in between. What the Supreme Court also said was that overall, in a federal structure where the roles are defined, the lieutenant governor was originally left with 3 particular fields of legislation. The rest belonged to the state. And insofar as services were concerned, part of the federal structure was that the government had powers implicitly over its administration, over the personnel.
Right.
Now, without amending the constitution, but by virtue of the article itself, the particular legislation has been amended. This is what Parliament has done today. So that is what Mr. Kejriwal was referring to in his concept of the Chor Darwaza, that there was a particular part of 239 AA which provided for the possibility of legislation.
Okay.
How far is this legislation valid, constitutional?
Yeah.
Will be again decided possibly by a constitution bench.
Right.
There's already a challenge pending to the ordinance. The ordinance has now been replaced by this act, and I have no doubt that the Delhi government will be amending its petition to challenge this act as well.
Absolutely.
And the Chief Justice also indicated. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. One minute.
Okay.
I'm just giving you a time frame.
Yeah.
The Chief Justice of India also indicated that after it finished with the Kashmir matter, there may possibly be a slot to hear the Delhi matter again.
Okay.
So we are looking at some time, maybe in September or October, where the matter will go back to court.
No, no, of course. So we don't know what the court is going to do, but I want to ask a question to BJP. Shehzad, I'm coming to you. The question is very clear. Here you have at least two of our panelists saying that this is a matter, and many, in fact, in the opposition on the floor of the Rajya Sabha said that you need to have a constitutional amendment for this. You're amending the constitution without actually bringing in a constitutional amendment, just a statute in this particular case. No. Please respond to that. Very important charge.
In fact, I want to congratulate Sanjay Hegde for his candid, honest opinion that he has just given. He said that it is inbuilt within 239 AA3B that you can just make a law. You don't need to bring a constitutional amendment. But I have a further question of Sanjay Hegde, despite his honesty, that sir, when it's imbibed in the constitution that parliament can make a law on any matter of state list, because state list becomes like a concurrent list for Delhi, even apart from issues of 1, 2 and 18, how is it Chor Darwaza when it's in the constitution from 1991 onwards? And how come you're calling this arrangement in the constitution Chor Darwaza? And sir, I'm asking you, the Delhi government went twice to the Supreme Court to put a stay on this ordinance. They did not get categorical stay. And Mr. Sanjay Hegde, with whatever, and I consider you a man of great integrity, what does para 95 of the 11th May judgment say?
Okay,
I want you to just answer that one question.
Many questions in that one question, but I'm going to allow Sanjay a chance to respond to that. Tehseen, coming to you, please. 1 second.
The phrase Chor Darwaza was used by Mr. Kejriwal. I was only pointing that out. Okay. Now it is there in the constitution. Whether it was meant to be operationalized in that sense, or whether Delhi being much more than a union territory, but not fully a state, whether it would require a constitutional amendment, is now a question which the constitution bench will decide. Now, we can go round and round this mulberry bush, but at the end of the day, a government which does not have control over its civil servants really is not a government. If you tell me to run my law office without having control over whom I hire or fire, then I'm not really running a law office. That is the basic problem.
Okay.
With what has happened today.
Right. But on a lighter note, Shehzad Poonawalla and Sanjay Hegde, after an 8-hour-long debate in Parliament and a long debate here on prime time, one would actually think that one is more educated about the law, but the versions I'm hearing are perhaps more confusing than anything even to me, and I can only imagine what the viewers are going through. But
Sanjay's analogy would have been right had Sanjay beforehand been told. 1 second, Tehseen, 1 second. Sanjay's analogy would have been right if he would have been told beforehand that you are the boss of your office. You always knew when you contested election that this is the system of Delhi. By the way, Sanjay, one last question. 239 AA3B, does it apply to any other union territory with a assembly, with a national capital territory, or does it specifically apply to Delhi? And after that also you're saying that whether it was meant to be applied this way. Sanjay, I think what you're not saying is revealing much more to the audiences, and you're not quoting what para 95 says. The para 95 of the judgment makes it very clear that parliament is entitled to make laws on any subject.
You made your point. Let others also come in. Sanjay, you want to quickly rebut that before go across to Tushar and Tehseen? Yeah.
No, Shehzad's voice is not very clear. There's some problem in his audio.
All right.
Zoom doesn't like the speed when they
whether it's Zoom, whether it's the constitutional provisions, I don't know what is not working at the moment, but let me quickly go across to Tushar Gupta. Tushar Gupta, a number of points being made here by the Delhi Chief Minister. He's lashed out. He's saying that BJP has shown, if I can quote him, that it hates Delhi. And he says it's a beta versus neta. That's the position that Arvind Kejriwal has taken. I am the beta of Delhi, and you are a neta who made promises of full statehood but reneged on them. Tushar.
पहले दिल्ली के मालिक थे, खुद को दिल्ली का मालिक कहते थे, आज दिल्ली के बेटे बन गए. And Madhav, one simple thing, because we're debating the constitutionality of this act, no longer the bill, Why was Arvind Kejriwal looking for allies? Why was he not approaching the courts? We all know that he tried very hard to negotiate a deal with the BJD in Odisha and with the Andhra Pradesh party also to get the required numbers in the Rajya Sabha. He failed. Number 2, Kejriwal also made some lofty comments about how he has served the people of Delhi and now he has no control over the senior officers who he addressed in a very disgraceful manner. My simple question, Madhav, to the people of Delhi, to your viewers, when has Arvind Kejriwal stood up for Delhi? The first 2 waves of COVID, Arvind Kejriwal disappeared, Amit Shah had to take over. So much was the condition that Arvind Kejriwal actually went in public and said that the hospitals under the Delhi government will be reserved for the people of Delhi. When India was exporting the vaccines, Kejriwal made a hue and cry about it. When India was procuring the vaccines, Kejriwal made a hue and cry about it. Delhi riots, Kejriwal was silent. Farmer protests, Kejriwal was silent. RRTS
bill went for a review of the Supreme Court orders, shows that the Supreme Court order was extremely crystal clear that they did not have control over postings, what Sanjay Hegde is saying. Yet, being clever than half, BJP spokesperson and the respected Home Minister only spoke of half the thing, not para 160, 162. I request your viewers to glance at that.
Okay. Let me just come in. Before I get in a response from the BJP, there's a reaction of Raghav Chadha coming in. The first reaction after those charges of alleged forged signatures or support letters that were made on the floor of the House. Raghav Chadha's first reaction. Let's quickly listen in.
Accused of forgery.
I will respond to that privileges committee.
But
Let a notice be given. Let a notice be given. I will respond to it. I will respond to that.
All right, I will respond when a notice comes from the Privileges Committee. Many hands going up. Rakesh Sinha, this is the first reaction of over here, Mr. Raghav Chadha, but no clear answers being given as to what really transpired. And you also wanted to respond to some of the spokespersons. Rakesh Sinha.
See, as regards to Raghav Chadha's matter there, he has already replied that he will answer to the Privileges Committee. That's fine. It settles the matter. Let the Privileges Committee take a call on that. What I'm trying to say that there is a constitutional debate going on here that whether the Parliament had the power or not. We are missing one point, that this matter has now been referred to a constitutional bench, 5-judge bench, and with 2 remarks. What are those two remarks? I want to read it for the viewers here. What are the contours of the power of Parliament to enact a law under Article 239 AA Clause 7, and whether Parliament in the exercise of its power under Article 239 AA Clause 7 can abrogate the constitutional principles of the governance for NCTD. What does this mean? This is the observation of the Honorable Supreme Court, and these are the 2 issues which have been framed for the constitutional bench. So that means that there are certain areas which are yet not cleared. The power which the BJP and their spokesperson are claiming that Parliament has, it is under cloud. This is not judicially examined as yet, whether the article under which this legislation was brought in, whether this particular article...
Respond to that, Shehzad. The entire article which is in fact being referred to is under the cloud. The court itself has not specifically mentioned whether the centre has that power or it does not, as it so claims.
You know, Tehseen read out para 161, 162. What
yes,
he did not read out.
Yes.
Can I, sir, Mr. Sinha, can I please? Conclusion.
They are claiming that they have the power. Court is referring
this
matter
please,
to
Mr. Sinha,
we understood your point, Mr. Sinha. Now let's get the response quickly, please. We have limited time now. Yeah.
Para 164 drawing conclusions.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Para 164 drawing conclusions of the 105-page judgment. First, it is not a homogeneous class of union territories with similar governance structures. B. Yes. NCTD is by virtue of 239AA a sui generis status, setting it apart from other union territories. 1 second, sir. Please don't interrupt. Please stop interrupting. Please stop interrupting.
Mr. Sinha,
stop interrupting.
Nobody interrupted you. And listen to the response.
Can you please stop interrupting? I'm quoting verbatim the judgment. The last para, the conclusive para of the judgment. Point F. The executive power of NCTD with respect to entries in list 2 and list 3 shall be subject to the executive power expressly conferred upon by the union, by the constitution or by a law enacted by Parliament.
Okay.
Where is the confusion? Where is the confusion? Tehseen Poonawalla is reading a
Now, let me
situation
answer that.
where the power has not been conferred by Parliament. But if the power has been conferred on the LG by the Parliament, which it is entitled to do, then there is no discussion. Tehseen, you're not a trained lawyer. Let's be clear about this.
No. One second. First of all, don't be personal with me.
You're not a trained lawyer. You don't have a degree in law.
Okay. No side debates, please. No personal jibes. Tehseen, respond to the legal point you made.
Neither does Amit Shah ji have a degree in law. Now let's come, and many of your ministers and others, their degrees are questionable. Now let's come to the issue. 78 to 85 and 164 is right what the BJP spokesperson is saying. He's right on it. Except where he's exposed himself and the BJP is simply this, that yes, the power rests with Parliament. All right. So what has Parliament done? The Supreme Court said the final authority is the state government and thus LG is bound by it. That power that the Supreme Court gave to the Delhi government, Parliament took away that right. It took away that right. That is what this debate is about. So what did the BJP do?
All right. There are more reactions coming in from Parliament. Let's quickly listen in. This is P. Chidambaram, former Union Home Minister.
That this is exactly what the Congress has enacted. We are only implementing it.
No, we did not draft this bill. We did not enact this bill. He should point out how is the Congress responsible for this atrocious bill.
So he also said that this can only be implemented in Delhi as a UT cannot be applicable for the other states.
That is so, but they did it in Jammu and Kashmir. They split the state into 2 union territories and promised to restore statehood within 1 year. It is already 3 years, 4 years. They have not restored statehood. So they made a promise in J&K and broke the promise. The Home Minister makes a promise in the House today about Delhi. But what prevents them from bringing a similar bill, not the same bill, a similar bill to wreck the system of parliamentary democracy in the other states or the other union territories? For example, Puducherry.
All right. That's the former Union Home Minister P. Chidambaram speaking there. But let me go across to Khaliqur Rahman for a quick closing comment. Khaliqur Rahman, almost out of time. The large question that many are looking at is the roadmap to 2024. Will the opposition unity stand? Because Union Home Minister, for instance, took a jibe earlier, which I was mentioning, where he told Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge that Arvind Kejriwal will withdraw support right after this legislation. Does this unity stand? Is the larger message of opposition unity going to hold even beyond this legislation? Khaliqur Rahman.
Yeah. See, as far as the opposition unity is concerned, because there is no proper understanding within them with regard to what is that they are going to offer to the country, to the people. There is no proper agenda set in. Even today, they have been fighting within themselves. So I think it is really too early to say that whether this I.N.D.I.A. will really last till the elections are held.
Okay, so you are doubting whether it will last till the elections are held. Completely out of time, gentlemen, completely out of time. Shahzad Poonawalla, Tushar Gupta, Rajesh Kumar Sinha, as well as Sanjay Hegde, Tehseen Poonawalla and Khaliqur Rahman. Thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining us and trying to break down for our viewers the complex legal issues and the legal tussles surrounding this extremely controversial bill. All eyes on the next 3 days in the Lok Sabha, where the Parliament will be debating the no confidence motion. What will this do for the opposition morale as far as trying to put the government on the mat? That's what we need to watch out for. Thanks so much for joining us.
The News Hour at